Alright, just so you guys know real quick, before he starts, we just got done recording the first, probably third of the episode, and our camera malfunctioned and just dumped the whole thing, so we've got to start over. So we might start off a little shaky, and hopefully we get better.
Malfunctions happen, guys.
Get off my hand!
Tomatoes.
Wolf Tick Nation, thank you guys for tuning in to once again another Wolf Tick Videos episode. On today's episode,
Is there something you want to tell me?
We are happy you guys are here because, guys, we're fixing to get scientific.
Yeah,
we've got
not so much science.
7 different bikes that we are going to be breaking down
7.
because one of the most frequently asked questions on this channel is what?
Is which bike out of this one or that one would you buy, or what bike for this amount of money would you buy if you're, or what would you recommend? And we don't recommend. We can only tell you about our experiences and what we find and what we like.
Now, this is all going to be opinion based, of course. Now, all of these bikes that we have
like
listed,
everything else,
we've ridden all of these bikes. We've worked on a lot of these bikes, so it's from first-hand experience.
I've only rode a few of these a short period, but I've rode most of them at least a little bit.
So, guys, if you have an opinion on a bike that should have made the list, or maybe a bike that you own that's within this price range, let us know in the comments.
The price range,
I was just going to ask you,
is going to be 500 plus or minus 100. And we thought, okay, well, you come up with how many bikes?
7.
7 bikes in that category, so that's how we figured it out.
Yeah. All right, guys. So
we're just going to talk about those, give you some more experiences and our thoughts on it, do some kind of a comparison, and then we might even throw out some, we might throw some kind of numbers into it just to be, fun.
Scientific. Yeah. Now, guys, if you're a fan of the podcast style where we talk bikes, this is your episode, all right? So please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you ain't part of the Wolf Tick Nation. All right, guys, let's talk about the first 4 bikes on the list. These are all 27.5s. Yeah. First bike we're going to be talking about, first bike we're going to be showing, is the $400 Head JRA2. Now, this bike here is one of the only bikes on this list that the company actually sent us.
Yes, although we're going to be fair and honest like everything else, but that is, everything else has been sent to us, either we bought it or it's been sent to us by a patron or supporter. The
next bike that we've got is the $480, and this bike has been got cheaper, a lot cheaper.
We got ours for about $386.
Is the GT Aggressor Pro.
Yes.
The bike that made the channel.
The bike that started this channel, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys know how we feel about that bike. We love that bike. I've had it for a long time now and enjoy it, and it's still going strong when it's going.
The next bike we're going to be talking about is the $400 Mongoose Ledge X1.
The only full suspension bike on the list, and the only bike on the list that has a
freewheel.
Boom, 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 boom.
Next bike on the list, last of the 27.5s, is the $575. You guys just got done watching real-time review initial impressions, hopefully on it. It's the Polygon Premier 4.
The only bike on the list that's over $500, but the only bike on the list that has hydraulic brakes.
Yeah, very good, yeah. And if you guys find any differences with this bike is the only one that has this, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, if there's something we get wrong, let us know.
Next, we're going to go into the 29er range now, okay?
Mine?
For all you bigger riders. No, that was mine. Yours is over there. Next bike that we've got is the $400 Kent Trouvaille, the Moleville or Mullet build. Really one of my favorite bikes on the channel that I get to ride every now and then.
I think a lot of these are some of your favorites.
Yeah.
The one thing about the Trouvaille, I can say, Moleville, excuse me, is really, it was the bike that kind of, the bike that inspired me to delete an episode that I ranted on because there was a mistake or a whatever, somebody might have got fired over it at Walmart or something, but they listed it with the specs of a higher end bike, I guess they carry apparently, and it was listed of having hydraulic brakes, and I was super excited that a $400 bike was coming with hydraulic brakes and a free hub for once,
and it
didn't. When it came in, I was so disappointed.
Yes, you guys know all about that.
I finally got over it, and since then we have grown to love the Trouvaille.
Next bike, $400 29er, the Ozark Trail Ridge. One of our newer bikes that we
Yes, the bike that originally had no name. When we first bought the bike, we still have the paperwork on there. It was just called the Ozark Trail, and it had no name. That's why we're calling it the Plug. Yeah. And then people were saying it's called the Ridge. Well, then we looked back at the site, and yes, they did name it the Ridge. It seemed like I don't know if I want to take credit, but it seemed like after we released those episodes, or the first episode,
Wolftick Nation spoke up.
Yeah, somebody spoke up, because then it was eventually named the Ridge.
Okay, now the last bike on the list, it is the $29 or $500 Schwinn Axum DP. One of my favorite bikes on the channel.
One of your favorite bikes again, and it was the Axum DP. I want to say it's groundbreaking for its time. It's still one of the best values, I think, when it comes. Well, we'll get into the value later, but I think it's still one of the best values out there for what it is and the platform of what you can do with it. I think every time we talk about a category, after we talk about the bikes in the category for a while, we'll throw up some numbers. We'll go, the first place will get 7 points, and so on down to last place will get 1 point. And then at the end, just for fun, we'll see at the end how many points. We don't know what the outcome's going to be. We didn't rehearse this. So we're all going to get to find out together.
If you can't tell.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you want to talk about first category?
We don't script.
First category, what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about brakes. Since I already mentioned brakes, I want to talk about brakes real quick. Now, I will say this. The Trouvaille, like I had said, the brakes that came on the Trouvaille, once we got past the original disappointment, they weren't hydraulic. They're not great mechanical brakes.
No.
But they worked okay. The design's not great. It's an old design. It wasn't great. But they end up not being I don't know if they would be the worst on the list as far as brakes go. The bike with the best brakes on the list, technically, I guess, would be the Polygon because
Premier
they're hydraulic, regardless of the rear brake was giving you a little bit of trouble in the review.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we haven't bled it yet and everything. It does come with hydraulics, and it is under $600 for hydraulic.
We've got the Schwinn Axum DP. I remember that bike was one of the few ones that came originally. We're talking about kind of it being more of a old school bike, but having a lot of modern stuff. That bike came with was one of the first bikes that we had that actually had a 180 rotor up front and the 160 in the rear. So I was a big fan of that.
Yeah.
That gives us some points.
They're all good for an upgrade, except, I mean, we'll have to see how long-term goes on the Polygon, but the rest of them were good for an upgrade. I wouldn't say they're trash. Numbering those is going to be more you.
Okay, guys, are you guys ready for the breakdown? The categories of the brakes. Now, this is 1 through 7, 1 being the worst, 7 being the best.
Yes, points we're giving.
Number 1 is the Kent Trouvaille. All right.
The letdown factor is enough to put it last.
That sucks, yeah. Number 2, the Ledge X1. It's got the little M's cut in there on them. Nothing special. Number 3, we've got the Head JRA. Because I remember, that thing actually did slow me down until I skinned the crap out of my palms. You know what I mean? I was hitting them brakes up in the air and I crashed.
Oh, that's right. Then that's the one you did a big gnarly crash in front of them guys.
Gosh. Number 4 is the GT Aggressor Pro with the Tektro brakes. I remember not really ever having a problem with those. Number 5 is the Ozark Trail, just because the levers, I actually feel like you're not going to be snapping them suckers off. Number 6 is the Axum DP, just because the rotor was a little bit bigger in the front than the rear, and that was a big help. And number 7, the best of the list, is going to be the Polygon Premier 4, because we got hydraulic brakes.
Not necessarily number 7, but it's for 7 points in first place. Yeah. You kind of got it backwards on what you're saying. But yeah, so give me a category. What do you think we should talk about next?
I already wrote it down. I want to talk about group sets.
There you go, group sets.
Group sets on the bikes. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the only bike on here.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room is the Ledge X1 with the free wheel. All right, that just sucks because, and we've talked about it time and time again. Yeah, we're going to talk about it some more. The free wheel limits you money-wise because
it limits you on everything.
You got 7 or an 8-speed. The only thing you can really do better, I think, as far as a 7-speed is concerned, is that Mega Range, right?
Yeah, but
that's like a 42 tooth.
No, the Mega Range is a 30-something.
God,
it's not good. So yeah, there's nothing really to talk about on this one.
I mean, there's no ability.
No bike at 400. I don't care if it's full suspension or not. Should have a free wheel, and that's $100 right there at least. So really, when it comes down to it, that bike it puts it. It puts it at $500 if you look at it that way. So, instead of looking at that, we'll just look at it with the free wheel.
Let's talk about the other 2 bikes on this list out of all 7 that have 3 buys as opposed to either a 2-buy or a 1-buy. Okay. And those 2 are going to be the Head JRA 2 and the GT Aggressor Pro. Those are both 3-buy bikes.
Now, if my memory serves me right, neither one of those bikes were horrible shifting bikes. The GT, in all fairness, when we got that bike, we didn't do our reviews the same as we do them now, but it never gave you that much problem.
No, it really didn't.
It was decent, and one of the things I'm going to say, it had a sealed bottom bracket.
Yeah, it did.
And so did the head.
Mm-hmm. The head does as well.
And I think we'll get into these other ones. So that accounts for something right there.
Now, another bike I want to talk about that we've had some problems with, not necessarily on the trails, well, maybe a little bit, because I remember talking about having to tune it, is the Kent Trouvaille. That was one of the bikes, I think the only bike that we've ever gotten from the store, and it was a huge deal because the chain was rather wrong through the derailleur.
Well, everyone was talking about I mean, you could not go on any message boards or anything without people saying the chain's routed wrong. You know what's funny is back then we were running it the way it came.
Yeah.
So we did run it with the wrong routed chain for a little bit, then we fixed it and ran it for a little bit, and I will say this, it shifted pretty good either way.
And that was the Advent 9-speed. Alright guys, so let's talk about the group set and my list on them. You ready for this?
Yeah.
1 being the worst, 7 being the best. Number 1 is going to be the Ledge X1. Okay.
Yeah, you can't get past the fact it's a free will for $400.
Nope. Number 2 is the Ozark Trail. I've never had a group set jump out of alignment. I don't know what the hell's wrong with that thing.
That's a lot of you guys out there said, well, did you adjust the limiter and all this stuff? Look, here's the thing. One of the times for sure, it came out when you were in 2nd or 3rd gear. Yeah. It just randomly, without shifting, just completely jumped off the cassette.
2 times I
just
was
flew right
upset.
off.
And it does have the one by which I like, but the damn thing just won't stay on there.
Yeah.
The 3rd bike is going to be the Hedge JRA2. Okay. 3 by, a little bit of heavy, but 3rd place, it's honorable. 4th place. It has a
sealed bottom bracket.
4th place is a GT Aggressor Pro.
Sealed bottom bracket again.
Number 5 is going...
We talked about the GT already.
Yep, number 5 is going to be the Trouvaille. Okay.
Yeah, because even with it routed wrong, it shifted good, and after fixing it, it shifted. Really, the Advent, was it the Advent?
It's Advent 9-speed, guys.
It's not clutched, but it's actually not bad. It's not the greatest, but it's not bad.
Number 6, right, this is second best, is going to be the Polygon Premier 4. Although it does take some getting used to, you do have a lot of gearing options there. That was a little confusing for me. And number 7, the best, is going to be the Axum DP. 1 by, we've done a lot of changes to that bike, but... it being a 1 by and having that kind of the extra little spring back there. Some people were talking about like tightening the spring and putting more tension on it.
It is adjustable.
Like I said, when it was good, it was really good. When it was bad, it wasn't all that great. But the Axum DP gets the number 1 spot in the group set category.
This one's going to be kind of weird. Let's talk about features. Now, with features, this is probably going to trigger the most amount of people. They're going to be like, well, this or that or whatever. And that's fine. Let us know in the comments. But here's my thing. I know you love that. Features-wise, this is going to be tough mainly because, so right off the bat, we say the Ledge. Features-wise, it's full suspension.
Yeah.
But then it's, like we said 100 times already, it's freewheel. So it's kind of like, what does that do?
I think that, I don't know. See, like, the Ledge, in my opinion, is one of those bikes, and I thought about this before we started filming, guys. The Ledge X1 is one of those bikes that if you are really into tuning and upgrading, that bike has a lot of possibilities.
You love that bike.
It has a whole bunch of upgrade ability if you guys are into tuning stuff and ordering parts.
I think that's the one common thing with all these, really, is the upgradability. Now... There's a couple upgradability. There's a couple of elephants in the room. I think the elephant in the room, when it comes down to it,
I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead.
The GT Aggressor Pro with that head tube.
Yeah, 34, and it's still 34 to this day.
Limited. As of right now, there's nothing you can do with that head tube, pretty much, and it sucks. If you go up to a 44 millimeter, even if it's not tapered, you have so much more you can do. You can put a tapered cup headset in it. You could put the slat headset. There's things you can do with that 44 that you can't with that 34, and then most of them on there have a tapered head
34.
tube.
Most of them have a tapered head tube. Let's talk about the features of the Axum DP. You got a damn dropper that comes on the bike, and that's awesome.
And now you do pay for it over the standard one. It's $100 more than a standard Axum. So
I'm going to pay $100 all day for a dropper. It's internally routed.
But that's the only thing internal on that bike.
That's the only thing internal. It comes with everything that you need, and it has a remote. A lot of times, these droppers these days, guys, you can't buy one internal that's got that much drop. I want to say it's 100, maybe 125, that has that much drop. That comes with everything that you're going to need, including a remote. A lot of them, they're starting to cheap out on you.
Yeah, you're right, but...
For $100.
But now, that being the only thing that is internal, some of these bikes have internal routing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people love internal routing.
They really do.
I can live with or without it.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into head tube angles because that's just not... It's not really us. We don't really talk. We mention it when we know it sometimes. Otherwise, we just kind of leave it alone. But the seat tube diameters, it is a factor for people. And so when it comes down to the bikes, some people will get stuck more on a the seat tube size than they will on tapered or not.
Yeah, let's talk about them. The head JRA2 has a 30.9 millimeter,
which is good. It gives you a little bit of variety in droppers, right?
Yep. GT Aggressor Pro, 27.2.
Not great. It does not give you much variety on droppers.
Ledge X1, 27.2.
Yeah, see, again, another
Polygon Premier 4, 27.2. Kent Trouvaille, 30.4.
And that is, I don't even know, have we ever looked up a 30.4 before? Does anyone make, can you guys let us know, does anyone make a 30.4?
Is that like a misstamp? Ozark Trail Ridge, a 31.8 with the fattest. Man. And then we've got the Schwinn Axum with the 30.9.
Yeah, so the Axum's good, but and the dropper that came on, it's great. I mean, really, it's not bad at all, except for when you have to route it, and you have that weird little
pain in the butt trying to route the Axum DP. It came with everything. If it's not pre-routed, it's just inside the box. All right, so now we are going to talk about the breakdown of the features. Okay, now this is all of the features from 1 to 7, just like we've been doing. Remember, 1's the worst. Is going to be the head JRA2. Not an exciting bike. It does have the 44 millimeter head tube, but it's just not exciting.
And the seat post is a 27 too?
The seat post is a 30.9.
Okay, well, so I don't know how it's last.
I don't know. It's just, this is my list.
I think the GT Aggressor Pro's last.
All right, we're switching ahead to the GT. Next is going to be the Ridge. 4 is the Kent Trouvaille. 5 is the Ledge X1. Just because that sucker's got a lot of upgradability, although that's the only one that's that high that comes with a freewheel. Well, number 6, remember this is number 2 in the best spot, is the Polygon Premier 4. It has a 44 millimeter head tube, but it comes with hydraulic brakes. Number 1 is the Axum DP. Comes with a damn dropper post, tapered head tube. All right, guys, now let's go ahead and talk about the fun factor. This is going to be the most...
now this one's you. However you want to do it, it's fine with me.
The re-rideability.
Just remember, though, the GT, you didn't have anything else. You got to compare. You sort of have to compare them. Like right now, they're all, I would say this, all of them in pure stock form. You're going to go down the cat's meow 5 times in a row in pure stock form. Which ones? Put it. That's the list.
Okay, that's good.
5 times on a loop. On cat's meow, you got the climb and the descent. 5 times in a row. What's the order going to be? It's all on you.
Last place
for 1 point
is the head. All right.
Well, you have bad memories.
Hey, the rims didn't taco. That's about the best damn thing. Comfortable bike, whiskey
throttles. It was going good. You liked the bike, but you definitely got way too much air, and you were not ready to land it.
Yep, 27.5 medium. That bike comes in.
I think you dead sailored or something or whatever it's called.
$400. Next bike is the GT Aggressor Pro. That's another one with the 3x in there. That weight, guys, in the middle, ain't nothing like it with that feeling. It kind of feels like you're just flying through the air uncontrollably. GT Aggressor Pro, number 2. Number 3 is the Polygon Premier 4. That bike was super fast.
For 3 points, not number 3.
Yeah, for 3 points. That bike was super fast. I didn't really have a whole lot of fun. That's not one of the bikes I can go, man, I enjoyed the crap out of that ride. It really wasn't an enjoyable ride.
Well, it wasn't horrible either.
My shoulders hurt.
That's right. Yeah, you really didn't like the position at all.
No.
Well, and you put it that high up. You put it over the head in the GT.
Yeah.
Wow.
Next is going to be with 4 points, is going to be the Ozark Trail Ridge. All right. Not a bad bike. I mean, I think I went to the top of the cat's meow. I was like, man, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, except for the mess ups the derailleur was giving you.
Number 5, going down the cat's meow. 5 points is going to the Axum DP. The reason why, that bike has got great tires, 2.6-inch tires. We got a dropper. I can get that seat out of my way. The biggest downfall to that bike, guys, remember it's a medium. The standover is not terrible. The wheelbase is so long on that bike, it kind of gets away from me a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
Bike's too big for you.
Next, with 6 points, is the Kent Trouvaille. That bike was a lot of fun. It didn't feel like I was on a skyscraper like a lot of 29ers do. And that bike right now, that was the one that we did the mullet to, and it's like, it's perfect.
That's
now.
what the dead sailor.
We're talking about stock form. That bike is not bad. Still got the damn same stem and bar on it.
Does it?
And one by. Yeah, I mean that bike is pretty solid.
A lot of them keep the one bys on.
Number 7 with 7 points is going to be the Ledge X1.
Well, you love that bike, and I don't know. I can't stand that bike. Look, here's one thing. I'm gonna say this real quick. I've been on all these bikes. I don't like the ledge.
Yeah.
I don't like full suspension.
Well, he gets on, he goes. Pfft.
Well, that's part of the problem is because it's set for you, and I'm not going to readjust everything for me and put all the air pressures and all that for me because I'm only going to ride it for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I can't stand the way that bike feels. It takes so much energy to pedal that bike with that full suspension. I like e-bikes anyway.
Yeah, so the Ledge X1 wins it. And I don't think that just because it's full suspension. It might be because that bike is so easy to get air, man.
You like the way that bike handles, and you like that frame design.
Yeah, and really, I guess it being the full suspension, I love the way that top tube angles up so hardcore, and it feels like you're really in the cockpit and like you're really riding that bike. Like, that is a great rider's bike. So let's go ahead and do this, guys. We are going to go through all these points. We're going to give the points where there should be. We're going to come up with our list from 1 to 7.
Yeah, we're going to add these points up.
We're going to add these points up. We're going to let you guys know.
And at the very end, we're going to say, what do we think? We're not going to label them, but just value-wise.
Okay.
But what do we think was the best value?
All right, guys. We just got done with the telling.
Got done.
And I am surprised. I don't know if you know them all because you were just giving me numbers.
Yeah, I have a feeling.
I'm pretty damn surprised. I really am. Let's start off with last place. Okay?
Last place. This is in our scoring. This is all for fun. Like, this is just to make content that's enjoyable. If you guys are into budget bikes like we are, it's fun to kind of just talk about this, do this stuff. None of this is really that thought out, so don't take it too serious if you own one of these bikes.
Brakes, group set, features, and fun. In seventh place, 10 points goes to the Head JRA2.
Not a horrible bike. I mean, right now it's $400 free shipping, and you can get it in like 4 different sizes. I'm telling you right now, I look forward to eventually upgrading that bike.
In 6th place, with 11 points, 1 point more than the Head, the GT Aggressor Pro.
The GT, the looks, the name, the reliability of that frame, that bike is great. Don't get me wrong, but you're so limited. You're limited on the seat tube. You're limited on the head tube. I think that bike is just a little past its prime. 13
points, 2 points more than the GT Aggressor Pro. We have got the Ozark Trail Ridge.
The Ozark Trail Ridge is really, for 400s, not a bad bike. Yes, out of the gates, the group set, a little funky. There's some things about that's not great, but it's a good looking, I think it's a decent looking bike.
When I look at that bike, I think that's a clean bike.
It's clean.
It's just clean. Nothing fancy. No, it's just a clean bike.
It's sort of a blue collar bike. It's going to get the job done. It's just not going to get it done in a great way, but it's going to get it done.
In 4th place, with 15 points, 2 points more than the Ozark Trail Ridge, we've got 15 points, the Ledge X1.
A bike that you love riding.
Yeah.
And the shortcomings with the seat post tube size, the freewheel, we talked about a million times now, but if you're going to put a little money into that bike, it comes alive. That bike, and the Ardor that's not on this list because it's a $300 bike, those 2 bikes are probably the most responsive to upgrade bikes that I think we've ever seen.
Okay, coming into 3rd place, 1 point above the Ledge X1.
Okay.
With 16 points, we've got the Kent Trouvaille.
Kent Trouvaille. The Kent Trouvaille and the Ridge are very similar bikes, and both of them are really good bikes. For the money, I mean, for 400, you really can't go wrong with either one of those. I think the Trouvaille's routed correctly now in the stores. I think every time we see it, it's only got the 2 frame sizes, but other than that, it's a solid bike.
It's a good looking bike too.
It is. It's a good looking bike.
I know Chuck U was pretty impressed with it when he came down the road.
Dude, well, Chuck, yeah, and thank you to him for them wheels on it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, in 2nd place, I'm surprised with 22 points. We're in the 20s. Is the Polygon Premier 4.
Now, the most expensive bike on the list, we'll get into the overall value in a minute.
Most expensive.
But it did. I mean, look, the Polygon did better. It did better than we expected.
It killed it with the brakes. It killed it with the group set. It lost it a little. No, it even killed it with the features. And then it kind of lost it with going down the on the fun level. And that leaves us.
No surprise to me.
And this was all just out of out of air here. It's
once I knew we were doing points, I knew this bike was
25 points in 1st place. It's the Axum DP with 3 points more than the Polygon Premier.
And I'm going to go ahead and take that moment to segue into, without any kind of build up for me, value. I think the Axum DP is really hard to beat. I think value-wise, look, we won't get into geometry and stuff. All these bikes are close on geometry. Some are definitely better than others if you're worried about head tube angles and all that. All of them are within a few degrees, I think, pretty much. That one's a little slacker than some of them on there. But I will say this. It's got the internal routed seat post still. The rest of it's external, which I prefer because I don't like internal routed rear brake.
Yeah.
Because once you go hydraulic, I don't like dealing with that.
It's an all-around great bike, great
for the money.
Bike.
It's a good entry level in the mountain bike.
And that's another one of those bikes that we take out to trails, and every time I'm at one of the hubs, it gets a bunch of compliments.
Yeah,
so
it's a fun bike. You've wrecked a lot on that bike.
Yes,
it's too big. Too big.
A lot. All right, guys. Well, that was our breakdown with all of our categories, our fun little scoring system.
So the scoring system and the value end up being the same for us.
Yeah. That was it. That was the episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
Look, I know it's not what we do all the time. We've got to mix it up a little bit. And I want to do a podcast one of these days so bad. And to me, this is kind of the podcast style. It kind of fills that little want that I have to do it.
If you guys have one of these bikes, or you don't have one of these bikes, you have something else that's either 100 more than 5 or 100 below 5, let us know in the comments. I'm really curious on going through there and reading them.
And no bike bashing. No, you guys can tell us you don't like these certain bikes or whatever, but if you're going to say, look, that bike sucks, don't do that. Don't just go, this bike sucks. Go, I don't like that bike because of this. Or I don't think it's that great because of this. Don't just go, bike sucks. I mean, like, what is that? It's nothing.
Wolftick Nation, we will see you guys in the next episode. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we appreciate you guys watching, man. We will see you guys on the next episode.
Yeah.